Cherki. O'Reilly had a shot tipped over the crossbar, and Haaland put a header wide of the post. It's been a brilliant first half, and as it stands, the Blues are in sync. At half-time here at the Etihad Stadium, City 2, Galatasaray 0. Well, let's go back to the studio and get the thoughts of Ben, of David, and of course with Kel.
So, it is half-time here at the Etihad Stadium in this Champions League game against Galatasaray, and it's a score that we all wanted to see. It is Manchester City 2, Galatasaray 0. Goals from Erling Haaland and Cherki, 2 assists for Jeremy Doku in the studio. We've got David James and none other than Ben Mee, which is an absolute treat for us all. Ben, I'll come to you. We've got a clean sheet, 2 goals. What did you make of the first half for City? It was a good day at the office so far.
Yeah, so far it's been a great half. City doing what they need to do. Sitting in that sort of top 8 now as it stands, which is really good. And no, I think it's been a solid half. Created a few chances, got off to a really good start. Classic Haaland getting in behind and finishing as he does. And yeah, I think obviously the only disappointment would be Doku coming off injured. He looked like he was enjoying himself. Sort of playing inside a little bit, allowing Aït-Nouri to get on the outside rather than receiving the ball sort of wide. He was receiving it inside and causing problems and getting on the ball. And yeah, like I say, looked like he was enjoying himself. So it was a shame to see him come off.
Kind of carrying on that conversation, it would be remiss, I think, not to point out he seemed like the man of the half, really. Jeremy, as you say, 2 assists. I wanted to know how many take-ons he did after the first 25 minutes, but you point out, Ben, he was almost at times playing as a centre midfielder, and how did that work, and why was that such a threat, David?
Well, what I love is when we're talking about the match, what we expect to happen. I think this is what we love about football, that Galatasaray would have done the same thing, obviously, in much more detail. As soon as that first cross went in from Aït-Nouri for Erling Haaland's header, I was thinking, I've done my homework, it's going to be crosses and headers.
There we go.
Unfortunately, that one didn't hit the target. But then, like Ben pointed out to me, he says, look at Doku's position, look at Cherki's position. They were playing essentially attacking midfielders with Marmoush on the left and Erling sort of centre to the right. It's causing Galatasaray all sorts of problems because they would have set up anticipating 2 players wide most of the time, and they're not there. Now they're occupying space in the middle. There's been a few opportunities, late on there with Phil Foden coming on. But Doku, what I love about it is that what he can do, and I've often said this about Phil Foden when you play him wide, it's almost like only having half a radar. Yeah. They can only influence one area or in one direction. Put him in the middle, he can go anywhere. Yes. And then you've got to try and stop him from going anywhere. Unfortunately, it looks like injury has stopped him in the first half there. But what a good start. One chance, I think, one shot on target from Osman, which would probably have been offside had he gone in. So I think defensively, there was a bit right there at the end where you saw Osman trying to run back and Krishnov went, no, you're not, mate. I'm quicker than you. You're not going to get a chance on top of that. So good half, very good half.
On the defensive side of it, Ben, as you said, I don't think they've fashioned too much. But is that because how good City have been, and we seem to have kept the ball quite well? So I think we had over 65% possession in that half as well. Yeah,
in the main they've done really well. There was one moment I think Nunes lost the ball just in the middle of the park, and he was last man, and it's sort of a little bit of a race between him and Osman, and Sané was up the other side as well for the square pass, but he managed to get back in, deal with it, and did really well to do that. There's been a couple of half chances where maybe Galatasaray could have gone in behind a little bit more, a bit reluctant to do that, which plays into City's hands. But no, in the main they've defended really well.
They really have. That's been the solid building block for them to do what they were doing going forward. We mentioned it was the Haaland goal, and then a lovely goal for Ryan Cherki as well, and Jeremy Doku with the assist.
Yeah, what I like about that, first of all, Doku's movement, the ball being played, Nouri's playing the ball through into him. But it's Cherki's movement as well, or lack of movement even. As a defence pushed towards a goal, I was expecting Cherki to run in and think maybe Jeremy's going to have a shot and he'll be able to get seconds. But held back, wait for the ball, perfect pass from Doku, and then I'm laughing. He's basically, as you say, giving the goalkeeper the eyes, fake to go right, pulls it back onto the left, and you see the goalie fall over to. I'm laughing because it's the sort of thing the goalies don't like. No. If you do something like that, then you've got to give credit to Cherki's finish, putting in the bottom right-hand corner from the goalie's point of view. Yeah. Super finish.
Wait for the defenders as well to come across him, so he would just go the other side of him as well. I think just that calmness, just to wait a little bit longer defenders come flying in, and then he goes around the other side of it, from where they've come, basically. It's another annoying thing for a defender on that.
But the beauty of it, people talk about players' movement.
Yeah.
It was his lack of movement in a moving situation.
The stillness almost.
That created so much space, as you said, allowing someone to run.
It's been quite interesting as well, Ben. We were saying that because you're wondering he'd be Marmoush wide, shaking him, but they've almost played as a front two. Has that helped? I felt like it helped with Haaland's goal a bit in that if it's suddenly the defenders have got to not just think about Haaland, they've got to think about Marmoush in the box as well. Has that helped Haaland?
Well, Jim said they've done the homework. They've worked on a pattern that City they thought we're going to play, and this is how we're going to defend it. I've seen. Is it Lamina? Is it Lamina?
It was San. I can't remember. It was
the centre midfielder. He's dropping in a little bit in the back line. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes when City are attacking, he's dropping in there as well. So they've obviously worked on the two centre halves going a bit wider, dropping a midfielder in, allowing the fullbacks to maybe get out to Doku, or but it's not happening. So they've obviously got a change to make within how they're defending, but the way City have set up, they're packing that midfield, sort of playing a 2 and a 2 and a 2, basically, aren't they? As you say, and maybe sort of out possession. I think it's a bit more of a diamond with the 2 up front as well when they're pressing, but it's causing all sorts of problems. As you can see that Galatasaray have set up a certain way. Yeah. But City have just, complete as Pep does, he just changes everything. He's changed it round, and it seems to be working, overloading areas that perhaps that Galatasaray weren't expecting.
It's got to be so tough that for an opponent, David. You come out with a plan, and not only you're coming out with a plan, but you're coming out with a plan to try and stop a Pep Guardiola Manchester City, and very soon feel it goes out the window within 5. Like you say, the Haaland chance was within the first 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, and I think if it were a fortunate or a lucky goal for City and it was 1-0 going at half time, I'd be concerned, because then all of a sudden you've got to change something. Yeah. But this is working. Yeah. Now the question is, does Pep stay, even with Phil Foden in there? Does he stay with that formation and that sort of strategy? Because then Galatasaray will have an opportunity to change what they're doing, stop it. But with the 2-goal cushion and one real chance, I mean, there was the through ball, I think, at Sane and Osman, where Gundogan jumped over it, which was dangerous. But really, they've been limited in chances. Now, if City change it, if I'm you say this hard. If I'm a Galatasaray player, I'm thinking, what do we do now? Yeah. Do we go back to what we originally planned, or do we do what the managers told us to do? So, very confusing.
We saw Phil Foden have a chance at the end, similar to the goal that Cherky scored, actually, that pull-back, and to him. So, it's maybe Phil Foden's role just to get in the box, and maybe Marmoush might play a little bit of a different role. But we'll see. Yeah,
we know Phil likes sitting in and around that box as well with that left peg of his. That does mean currently, so at half-time, we're going to bring you a table once we've heard from our commentary team, but City currently go in at half-time 4th in the Champions League table. 4th now. Current results, I mean, it's been goals non-stop all over, but 4th as it stands. Obviously, 45 minutes of football still to be played. We'll bring you the table, but first let's go over to the Etihad Stadium here from Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison.
Yeah, welcome to the commentary position. Myself and Andy Morrison have been bringing you the commentary on the City app. Andy, listen, I'm always impressed by your analysis, but in the first 2 or 3 minutes, you were already spotting that City could get at Galatasaray. What is it you were seeing tactically?
I think it was just the rotations, Ali, and the movement. Doku was coming into little spaces, was pulling people like Gundogan in short, and then running off the back of him. Ball would go wide to Nouri, then down the side, and it looked too easy for me at this level of football just to be able to get into the final third unopposed without somebody, one of the centre halves has got to pop out then. And then when you've got Marmoush and Haaland arriving in the box, you're going to cause them all sorts of problems, and that seemed very evident early on to the eye.
And therefore you weren't surprised when City scored?
No, I mean, we had a great chance before that with Haaland, a fabulous chance. But when Doku went in short, as a centre-half, you're either dropping then 10 yards when you're up against Haaland, or one of the midfielders, or if a centre-half goes in with Doku, you're making sure he can't turn and face you. But he turned and faced, and then he's got this little shimmy, Doku, where he drops his shoulder, he knocks it into the right-hand side of the player, and then just slips it down the side. And it's a fabulous finish from Haaland, but he made it look so simple. But you've got a player chasing you, you've got a keeper coming out, and maybe the keeper went to ground. I mean, I'm sure David James will have an opinion on that, made it easier for him. But that's what he's going to do. But if you do stand up against him, he slips it down the side of you, so he's exceptional in moments.
And the second goal, another defensive exploitation of City by City again.
I mean, I'm not... and I'm not saying it's lazy from Gundogan, but he's taking the easy option, Ali. He's pointed to Sanchez to take the run of Doku, but it's already too late because Sanchez can't get there to stop him facing him. And if Doku faces you in the box, you're in trouble, because he's got the shimmy to the right or the left, and then he comes inside. Sanchez can't go to ground for the penalty, and he just rolls a super ball into Cherki, and everything he does from there is perfect. But, you know, Gundogan has got to track that run or get information to Sanchez earlier, because it's impossible. There's no football, there's no defender in world football that can stop him in a one-on-one in that tight areas. If you're out wide, you can go to ground and you can foul him, but in the box, you're in all sorts of trouble against him.
Just one final thought, unless the visiting coach does something tactically, do you see a mirror image in the second half?
I'd like to think so. You know, we can get the third goal, then he can maybe look at making a couple of changes. I don't know how it'll look then. I mean, whether they're getting information on the goal difference, I don't know, Ali. But you know, it was very, very easy, and I got to think we're going to see a better version of Galatasaray in the second half.
Thoughts there of Andy Morrison. He's alongside me on commentary duty, so make sure that you download the app. So far, so good, guys. Back to you.
So far, so good, Alistair Mann. Thank you so much. So here it is. This is how the current Champions League table looks at half-time. I'll bring you some key results as we leave that on your screen there. Atletico Madrid, they're currently drawing 1-1. Barcelona are losing 1-0 at home to Copenhagen. That's a huge result for Copenhagen as it stands. Then you've got Frankfurt, they're drawing with Spurs. Liverpool are winning 2-0. Napoli beating Chelsea 2-1, which is why they are not in the top 8 at the moment. And PSG and Newcastle are drawing 1-1. Real Madrid are also getting beat 2-1. So the two big Spain teams there struggling. Be great for Copenhagen as well. That's a huge 3 points if they can secure that. We were trying to. I mean, it's what's great about this last fixture week, isn't it, David? It's constantly changing, goals everywhere, but some surprising results in there so far.
Absolutely, and no doubt it will change
for sure
by the final whistle, and hopefully City's position, or the English clubs, if you want to be English centric, will be equally as good. But yeah, I mean the one that I'm looking out for, because I was covering the other day, was Atalanta and USG, because Atalanta win that, then they have a chance of actually saying that. Look at the goal difference, they'll be all right. But the less teams that have any kind of equality with City, the better.
Yeah.
But yeah, some surprise there. Look, what I love about this format as well, you look at Karabag down the bottom of that middle group, and you look at Atlanta, Inter and Chelsea, they're all in the same position, even if there's 4 points between them.
Yeah. But we were saying, though, as well, I mean, we started this evening, I think, in 11th. Or I think we were, and now we're into 4th, as I say. It's only half-time, but it does seem to be bringing a bit more fun and excitement, this format, David. Are you a fan?
A big fan, yeah. And also that all the games are at the same time, because obviously during the normal... the group stage games, they have the 5:45 kickoff.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're all at the same time, it's going to be very cold somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great.
Yeah. Look into this second half then, as you say, it's be interesting to see if Galatasaray make change. I guess the message from Pep will just be, at the moment, keep doing what they were doing. It was a great half, and you'd like to think much of the same. Yeah,
much the same for City. Do their job and then let things take care of themselves outside of this. The chaos that's going on in this format it will be what it will be, you know. I mean, and I think they'll just, like I say, get their heads down. And for Galatasaray, maybe not so much personnel, but sort of certainly structure and the way they're defending, the way they're pressing City needs to change if they're going to do anything in this game or get back into it. Try and come back into it. David?
I think, and again, we've got the league up behind us. The interesting thing here is City winning still doesn't mean it's in their hands to whether or not they qualify. Galatasaray, on the other hand, because they're losing and on the precipice of dropping out the competition, they will be all over the scorelines.
Yes,
I wonder whether scoreline updates coming to them will change the way that they play.
Well, we will find out imminently, because the boys are ready to come back out. So thank you, Ben. Thank you, David. We will be back at full time. So Manchester City fans, make sure you come back, where hopefully we're going to be talking not only about a Manchester City win. Ben's prediction is still very much in with the shout, as is David's. But also, fingers crossed, that automatic qualification. It's currently Manchester City 2, Galatasaray 0. We'll see you at full time.
Thank you, Kel. Quite fascinating that as the first half was coming to a close here. City suddenly leapt from 6th up to 4th because Real Madrid suddenly conceded and went 2-1 down. Newcastle equalised against Paris Saint-Germain, and Chelsea and Sporting Lisbon and Barcelona were all losing. It really is bizarre. Suddenly City were up into 4th. So it is going to be an ever-changing picture. Galatasaray, well, it seemed inconceivable they would lose their place in the Champions League knockout stages, but although they're still in there at the moment, they will be looking a little nervously behind them. So they have to improve their performance. But so far, it's been so very, very good, apart from the worrying sight of Doku going off with an injury, which myself and Andy Morrison, who's alongside me tonight, we think from looking at the replays that it was probably a bang rather than a pull. And of course, if it's a bang, you can probably shake that off in a few days with a bit of ice and so on. If it's a pull or worse, then obviously it could be out for some time. Anyway, City did make a